Hi, Brian Hawkins here, Next Step Survival, and today I have just a handful of non-food prepping items you might want to consider, mostly in the utility type of area. So yeah, let's do it. All right, so if you have your food, your water, your sanitation, your defense, you have everything covered and you're just looking for something that I can just add just for a peace of mind. I've got a few things here. There's nothing here that's really imperative, just some random things that I threw together and thought I would share with you. All right, so let's start out with this big old kit right here. And this isn't all that unique. We hear preppers talking about it all the time. And I've got a couple of these. They're just sewing kits. And this one's not that expensive. And it's got all the basics covered. And it's just nice to have, whether it hits the fan or it doesn't. So there you go. Sometimes you got to sew something up. The next thing is for you that wear glasses or have a family member that wear glasses. Maybe you have a backup pair. I would hope so. I have several sunglasses and regular glasses. Keep them everywhere, but when I replace my glasses, I keep the old ones. So that just makes sense, right? But sometimes you have your favorite pair of glasses and you need to do a little bit of repair. So that's what this kit here is. I put this together and I just throw this in a little pouch and put it up on a shelf or in a drawer or something. So these right here are the little nose guards of all sorts. And I actually have one of those, and these glasses here are old. But you can see, I don't know if it's going to show, but one of them's a little darker than the other. So I put a new one on, one of these little nose things. I should have replaced them both. There's plenty in there, but honestly, it was kind of a pain in the butt. And then I got these little precision screwdrivers that help you work on your glasses. And then here's some little screws and nuts and washers. I'm trying to get you the right angle without getting a glare. And I didn't have any issue at all finding the right little screw that went in there. So eyeglass repair kit. And the next one is the Lippincott Pocket Drug Guide for nurses. And this is kind of cool, especially if you're getting older. Doctors can tend to give you a medication and they're in such a rush because they have a high demand. They're trying to rush, take care of a handful of patients within that little time frame, and they're just going from room to room and let the nurses take care of all the details and everything. So sometimes you get a medication, you're like, I got a new medication. What for? I don't know. He gave it to me. So this little book here it's pretty detailed. It has over 3,900 prescriptions in there, drug prescriptions. And it covers like a new drug alert, dangerous drugs that it cover, it'll alert you to that if it's dangerous. It'll tell you the indications and recommended dosages for those drugs, potential adverse reactions, and any interactions it could have with other drugs or food, that type of things. And then it goes into some nursing considerations and patient training. So it's a nice little book to have. This is 2023 edition. I'll put links to everything below. I don't really remember what I paid for any of this stuff. I bought a lot of this in the past, so hopefully some of this stuff's still available. The next one is kind of strange. It's a disposable urine bag, right? So I got this idea when I was putting together my bug out bag. And I had my wife in mind, but this is good for male or female. It has these little, and I don't really it's got a bunch of little granules in there, so I don't want to spill it all over my desk. It has this little absorbent pad in there which soaks up the liquid. Once you're finished with it, it has a little Ziploc, and then you can dispose of it without trying to use a bottle or whatever. if if it's cold outside and you're in a like a some kind of refugee situation or something, or in a tent while you're camping or wherever, and it's cold outside, instead of saying, "Hey, go out there and behind that tree," this might be a solution. So I bought a whole package of these. Again, none of this stuff is really expensive, so I bought a whole package of these and just thought I'd throw one or two in a bug out bag, or maybe a get home pack, or maybe your wife or your EDC packs. Just an idea. The other one is another hygiene product, and these are antiperspirant wipes. And I threw a couple of these, or I think one of these, in my get home pack, and I don't know, a couple of them in my bug out bag. And it's just what it sounds like. It's basically wipe on deodorant, single use. So again, not very expensive and can come in convenient, so depending on who you are, what you do, and what your preferences are. The next item, I've heard preppers mention this before, are these little straight razors for shaving. I would love to find one of the older ones, like what my grandfather had with the leather cutting stroke where you sharpen it. But this one here has replaceable blades, single edge blades. And this is a pack of 100, and they're not expensive, and 100 blades should last a while. And if it's not, you just buy a couple more of these or whatever. But it does take some getting used to. You can chop yourself up pretty good if you're shaky hands or you're not used to it. But yeah, nice little backup for more hygiene. And the next item is something I ran into a couple of years ago, where it was canning season, just in the normal times, and I somehow misplaced the weight to my All-American canner. I found it after about, 45 minutes or something, looking around, and I thought, I'm buying another one of those because I'm not going to go through this again. One of my solutions for if the power goes out, and I think it's going to be long term, I have enough fuel to keep my generator going probably for a couple of weeks if I'm very conservative, a week if I run it 24/7. I have 3 freezers full of food. I don't want to let that go to waste, and I don't want to have a big old block party or anything. So my solution is to run the generator as I'm thawing things out, and then canning using an outdoor Camp Chef double burner. So canning is kind of a big deal in my plans for preserving my food in the event of emergency or a long-term blackout. So having extra weight for my All-American canner was one of those solutions. I should have grabbed it. I have a couple of, I think, Prestos or something, or I may have the name of them wrong, but I have a couple of other canners. I have several, and those take the rubber gaskets, and I have a couple of backups for those as well. And that's pretty much it for this. I did have a tip that I wanted to give you, an old school tip, and everybody's seen this before, and it's not a big deal. But the newer can openers are really cool. Rather than cutting the top of the can, this one here is a pull tab. But rather than pulling the top of the can off and letting it drop in, or hoping the magnet keeps it from dropping in, they cut along the side. Real nice, smooth side, and you just lift that lid up. So I thought, when the first time I used it, I thought, wow, this is cool. Like, I can even put the lid back on. So, of course, that became an idea that people have had for years and years. So picture a bunch of this canned chicken on your shelf in your pantry, or up in your kitchen, up in your cupboards or whatever. And at a glance, it just looks just like 2 regular cans of chicken. And this one here is the one without the pull tab. I prefer the ones without it. I just feel like they're more secure and going to probably last longer. That seal right there seems like a weak spot, just my personal opinion. But anyway, so I open this one up and then put the lid back on it, but you take the lid off and you can just put whatever in there. So a nice, easy way to hide something in plain sight. That's it. Easy peasy. Of course, I would stress that you take care of the other things, more important things first. Your water and your food and your energy and sanitation and your medications, medical, all that stuff. That should take a priority over all of this stuff. Like we go in steps here. So this would be one of the final steps, or maybe just a little add-on. So these things aren't particularly expensive. It doesn't take up a lot of your time. And you could just throw one in every now and then, you know, just to add to your preps. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I did. I have fun doing these, and I'll try to get more out to you real soon. We'll see you. Brian Hawkins, Next Step Survival. We're out.